a man boards the last bus home from work, as usual. For 3 nights straight, he spots the same woman in white at the bus stop, her large suitcase beside her. She doesn't speak, doesn't move, just sits there, calmly tapping the bench with her fingers. The rhythm is unsettling, like she's keeping time with something only she can hear. On the 4th night, curiosity gets the better of him. He walks up and asks her why she's still waiting, even though the last bus has long gone. He mentions that taxis are rare around here. She tells him she lost her phone. He offers his own, cracked and flickering but functional. She doesn't reach for it. Instead, she asks, "You really don't remember me?" He assumes she's not well and politely excuses himself. The 5th night brings heavy rain. She's still there, soaked, unmoving. He offers his umbrella, saying he lives nearby. She whispers that she's cold and asks if she can come with him. Moved by pity, he agrees and brings her home. He hands her a towel to dry off. When she returns it, he notices something horrifying. Her nails grow in reverse, curling inward. Suddenly, in the ICU of a hospital across town, a man bursts through the doors. Nurse Kwon Young-ji asks if he needs assistance. He urgently asks for directions to the morgue. Before she can answer, a patient's monitor blares to life. It's just a loose oxygen line. After fixing it, the alarm stops. When she turns back, the man is gone. Meanwhile, the man who took the woman home sits shivering in his room under thick blankets. What bothers him more than the chill is a dog that won't stop barking. He storms outside, yelling at the darkness. But the barking continues. Elsewhere, a man with dark shades, and he runs a lighting store that only opens at night. He caters to odd customers, those who appear at strange hours. Some come in silence, others browse aimlessly. One man repeatedly asks about the morgue. Another complains about the same barking dog. There's a student, Hyunju, who buys a bulb every evening after school. She chats with Hyunju before heading home. One night, she tells him she saw something, someone, strange, too dark to tell, but definitely not human. Wanyang suggests some people walk among us unnoticed, until you look too closely. He warns her, if she ever sees someone odd, pretend she didn't. Back at the man's apartment, the woman in white opens her suitcase. Inside, knives lined up neatly. She selects a pair of scissors. After Hyunju leaves the shop, Wanyang's face briefly appears ancient, ageless. At home, Hyunju sees the white-dressed woman dragging her suitcase down the road. She doesn't notice the red trail left behind. On another rainy evening, Hyunju shares her umbrella with a woman who has none. As they walk, the woman's hair grows visibly longer. Her gait becomes uneven, jerky. Hyunju recalls Wanyang's advice. Don't acknowledge the strange. The woman beside her keeps morphing. Panicked, Hyunju runs back to the store. Wanyang tells her to go home. Now, she obeys. He removes his glasses and simply stares at the creature. The woman turns away and vanishes. Not far from the store, a writer rents a quiet house. It's perfect, except for one room that's permanently locked. Soon after moving in, the lights flicker constantly. She blames it on old wiring, until a boy starts singing loudly outside her window every evening. Annoyed, she yells at him. He runs away, terrified. She shrugs it off and gets ready for bed. While drying her hair, she sees a strand on the floor, long and dark. It's not hers. She looks in the mirror. There's someone else behind her, or rather, something. The light flickers again. The boy, meanwhile, runs scared through the streets. He finds a woman in white dragging a suitcase and begs her to walk him to the lighting store. It's dark and he's afraid. As they pass the writer's home, he tells her about the voice that yelled from the window and the figure behind it. The woman in white approaches the door, curious. The boy grabs her arm, warning her not to knock. Then he notices something. Her fingernails. They're growing backward. Seeing the boy's frantic fear, the woman in white softly speaks, revealing something strange. His feet also grow backward. The boy, now thoroughly confused, turns and begins to run, but his steps are unsteady. In her home, the writer feels an unsettling presence. Something in the room feels wrong. She panics and decides to leave immediately. But she's frozen. She can't remember the code to unlock the door. Frustrated, she grabs a hammer, smashing the glass, but the door remains stuck. Meanwhile, no matter how fast the boy runs, he always finds himself back at the writer's door, as if the house is pulling him back. The woman in white drags her blood-soaked suitcase into the lighting store. The shopkeeper, seeing the blood, asks what she needs. But before she can answer, another man enters. The man claims to be a police officer, chasing a dangerous suspect. Blood continues to leak from the suitcase, trailing behind her. Police officer Yang Shang-sik, also present, watches this unfold. He calls out to the woman, but she freezes, as if feeling a tightening sensation around her. In a moment of misguided kindness, Yang Shang-sik removes his raincoat and drapes it over her, assuming she's menstruating. The woman in white leaves the store, her suitcase still dripping. Yang Shang-sik turns to the shopkeeper and asks if he's seen the suspect, describing the suspect's eyes as unnervingly cat-like. Suddenly, Yang Shangsik feels an odd sensation. His eyes began rotating abnormally. Yang Shangsik is an experienced officer, but a month ago, an event shook him. A woman living alone had been hearing persistent knocking on her door. Assuming it was a persistent suitor, she shouted that she wasn't interested. When the knocking finally stopped, she opened the door and saw a man crouching in the hallway, staring at her. The man quickly approached her, and then something fell. At a nearby bus station, another man sneaked onto a bus. Just as the driver announced its departure, feeling anxious, he prepared to leave. But just as the bus doors closed, Yang Shangsik appeared beside the vehicle. The man quickly donned a hat in an attempt to disguise himself. Yang Shangsik ordered everyone off the bus, and the man tried to hide, but Yang Shangsik had already seen him. As the man was arrested, a look of disdain crossed his face, but that expression quickly faded when he realized the woman he had killed was also on the bus. Yang Shangsik immediately called for backup, taking the man to the police station. That night, an elderly person was watching TV alone when someone knocked on the door. Shortly after, the police received a report. The elderly person had died, possibly from a heart attack. However, Yang Shangsik wasn't convinced. The elderly person's face showed no signs of pain, and although the person was right-handed, the remote was on the left side, the button worn down. The TV was playing a recorded program. Upon inspecting further, Yang Shangsik noticed a strange spot near the elderly person's mouth. At first, he thought it was an age spot, but upon closer inspection, it turned out to be jjangmyeon sauce. A rectangular stain on the floor suggested that a delivery box had been recently there, possibly bringing the sauce. Yang Shangsik suspected someone had visited just before the death. His investigation led him to a noodle shop, a peculiar one. It didn't have a delivery app or a contact number, but the owner made deliveries personally. Yang Shangsik confronted the owner about the elderly person's death, but the owner denied any involvement. Though there was no hard evidence, Yang Shangsik was certain the owner was linked to the death. He kept a close watch on him. One evening, Yang Shangsik saw the owner chasing a woman. He immediately intervened, restraining the owner. He demanded to know if the owner planned to kill again. Surprised, the owner asked how Yang Shangsik could see the woman. When Yang Shangsik asked if the woman was hurt, she slowly stood and turned. It was the same woman who had been murdered earlier. The owner then shoved Yang Shangsik aside and tried to flee, but the officer stopped him. They struggled, and Yang Shangsik noticed that the owner's eyes had changed, like a cat's eyes, predatory and unblinking. Next, Yang Shangsik went to a lighting store. Meanwhile, at the hospital, 2 critically injured victims of a car accident were brought in. The head nurse prepared their beds as a woman went about arranging the clothes of the deceased. Suddenly, the body made a sound, gas escaping. The woman, startled, called for the mortician. The mortician calmly explained that it was just gas, a natural process. To help ease her nerves, he suggested she step outside for a moment. Once she left, the mortician calmly trimmed the deceased's nails. Having worked as a mortician for years, he could hear the voices of the dead. He spoke to the deceased, reassuring her that death wasn't an end, but a passage to another place. After finishing his tasks, he placed the body in the morgue drawer, telling her to rest until he could return. In the quiet of the night, Kwon Yej, working her late shift, entered the hospital. On her way up, she met an elderly man in the elevator. She asked which floor he needed, and he replied, the 8th. She informed him that the 8th floor was reserved for critically ill patients and off-limits to visitors after hours. The man asked if these patients would ever wake up. Kwon Yej responded, I can't promise that. It depends on their will to survive. Upon hearing this, the man began to cry uncontrollably, his tears flowing like a torrential downpour. The elevator started filling with water from his weeping, rising higher and higher. Just as Kwon Yej began to fear being submerged, the elevator finally reached the 8th floor. As the doors opened, both the man and his tears vanished. After surviving a severe car accident, Kwon Yej discovered she had gained the ability to see individuals who were invisible to others, people stuck between life and death. One evening, Yeonju returned home from school to find her mother sitting silently in the dark. Despite her attempts to talk to her, her mother remained motionless. The truth was revealed only later. Her mother had passed away, her mouth stuffed with cotton, at her funeral. Unknown to Yeonju, a mysterious figure stood at the door, watching her. Meanwhile, a woman realized that her nails were growing backward, a strange occurrence linked to her desire to remain forever intertwined with her lover's hands. It turned out that the woman in white never intended to kill the man on the bus. She had tried to save him, stitching up his wounds to keep him alive. The man had planned to propose to the woman in white, but his hesitation was due to his fear of her deafness and muteness. His mother disapproved of the union, creating tension. Meanwhile, the man texted his fiancée right after stepping off the subway, saying he was about to board a bus to meet her. The man boarded the bus, unaware that the eerie figures from before were about to appear once again. As fate would have it, the bus malfunctioned, leading to a terrible accident. The fiancé, racing to meet him, witnessed the chaos unfold and immediately dialed for help. But as a deaf-mute, she struggled to communicate the urgency. The injured were quickly taken to the hospital. The fiancé's world crumbled when she found out her lover's spine had been severed and he was on the brink of death. At the hospital, the man's mother blamed the fiancé for his condition. As the woman burst into tears, she received a message from her father, saying her fiancé was still alive. Sadly, it was too late. The fiancé had already taken her life. The woman, a deaf-mute, had always waited for her boyfriend at their familiar platform. They communicated through touch, and even after her death, she continued to tap on chairs with her nails, hoping he would recognize her. One night, she met him at the platform, but he seemed to have forgotten her. Just a few steps away, he suddenly collapsed. Elsewhere, special cleaners arrived at the woman's home, preparing to tidy up. A strange noise echoed from inside. Thinking it was just a hallucination, they listened closely and heard a clear, distinct sound. Fearing the worst, they urged each other to leave. The woman was still in the room, working diligently to stitch her boyfriend up as he slowly began to stir. The next day, the man met the woman once again at the platform. Despite her taps on the chair, he did not recognize her. Soon after, he collapsed again. Determined, the woman took him to a cinema. A girl nearby noticed something strange, but when she went to leave, the woman and the man had vanished. The woman continued to stitch her boyfriend, exerting every ounce of strength she had in a desperate attempt to bring him back. A girl entered the elevator and saw a blood-covered man. Terrified, she ran, but the man followed relentlessly. It turned out he was the neighbor, and the girl, feeling relieved, began to relax. But then the man suddenly stopped her, asking when she had moved in. He couldn't recall anything from before. As the girl began to answer, the man's body suddenly bent in half, and she quickly fled. At home, she peeked through the door crack, only to be pulled away by her mother. Confused by her mother's odd behavior, the girl pressed for answers, but her mother only urged her to continue buying light bulbs. The girl felt isolated, with no friends or classmates to confide in. Meanwhile, her mother struggled, unable to explain the dark truth. Later, Yang Shangsik, a once renowned detective, discovered something unusual. His broken lighter was working again. His wife, who had been 4 months pregnant, was no longer showing signs of pregnancy. The doctor explained that she had suffered a miscarriage. This devastating news filled him with sorrow. As he wandered the alley, now realizing he could never leave, he found himself in perpetual darkness. He stumbled into a lighting store, where he began questioning his surroundings for the first time. The store owner, silent, removed his glasses, revealing eyes that resembled those of a cat. It turned out the alley was not just any alley, it was the River Styx, and the store owner was the ferryman of souls. Lightshop is a Korean drama that blends psychological horror with supernatural themes, focusing on a mysterious store where souls between life and death seek redemption. With strong performances especially from Joo Ji-hoon and Park Bo-young, the series delivers emotional depth through quiet tension rather than jump scares. Its haunting visuals and moody soundtrack enhance the reflective tone, making it a poignant exploration of trauma, guilt, and healing. A slow burn, but a memorable one.